here with coaches Sciba and Hicks of Morton Ranch High School. How you doing this evening, gentlemen?
How you
Good,
doing,
sir.
Coach?
Of course, our topic tonight is going to be recruiting. So if you can, just start off really to kind of cover what the role of the recruiting coordinator specifically is and the other coaches there in recruiting.
I'll go ahead. Again, I'm Coach David Hicks out of Morton Ranch. I think me and Coach Sciba, we work pretty well. We're actually pretty much co-recruiting coordinators. Our role is really just to get the kids as much exposure as possible and to, get them in front of colleges as much as possible. Also, but as far as our side is making sure our kids are doing the right thing as far as staying on a core course GPA, reaching out to the schools, doing questionnaires. Right now we're on a big thing where since all the camps have canceled, with, posting workout videos, doing everything that they can just to be seen.
Okay. Yeah, sort of along the same lines. I know that Coach Hicks did this before he came to Morton Ranch, and so did I at other schools that we've been at. So I think the biggest thing for me is that recruiting seems to have evolved, and now, especially like Coach just mentioned, with what's happened given the COVID-19 situation, it's kind of unprecedented, honestly, with the way that recruiting is getting done and at the rate it's getting accomplished. It's moving at a pace on social media that I've never really seen before, and honestly, kind of in a good way for some kids that maybe, are trying to make a name for themselves, which some of our guys are, which is really, really good for us.
Just recruiting in general. What's I like to say the number one, but it might be a 1, 2, 3. But what are the most common questions you get from coaches at the colleges about an individual player?
For me, so far, just in the recent conversations that I've had the last couple of weeks, I've had two common things I would say. Character, like, what is the kid like when nobody's watching? And then this killer instinct. I'll put it in quotation mark, you know what I'm saying? They want this mentality that this kid is going to perform at the alpha male sort of guy in the room clip. He's always the guy working. He kind of takes control, takes the lead. Does all these things. And that's been on the conversations that I've had. Is he a dog? Does he turn the switch on? These kind of things seem to be what the coaches have asked, especially here recently.
Okay. We've all seen – go ahead, Coach Hicks.
I'm about to say, yeah, I know a couple of other things. I know, they all want to know about the grades, their GPA, and just to piggyback on what our coach said, they want, since a lot of the kids aren't able to be at camp, the funny question is always, is he legit the size that, that he says that he is, so.
Right. We've all seen huddle highlights from every player out there. Walk us kind of through what that process is at Morton Ranch High School for the kid to get the highlights and who helps with selecting what goes into the highlights.
Coach Hicks, why don't you take that? You just did such a good job with Brandon's this past year. So.
Okay. Honestly, so with us, we do like to, hold the kids accountable, and we do like to almost put it into their hands. So, after we grade film, we have all the kids star, what they think their best plays are. From there, before it's published, we go back by and we say, we'll weed out this not a highlight, this is a highlight. And for us, it's more of always put your best plays first, as far as attention getter, and you work through the highlights as everything. But as you go through huddle films, you'll see receivers, they make a 5-yard catch, them out of bounds, and they put on a highlight film. you'll see a defensive lineman, you know, he'll run through and, you know, not get unblocked and make a tackle in the backfield and get up and start yelling. Like, you know, we really try to, you know, really teach the kids like what is a highlight and what isn't a highlight. But we also try to, you know, let them also pick, and from the plays that they pick, we weed out. Or if we see some great plays, because a lot of times the kids don't think like, you know, it's not a highlight because I didn't make the tackle. Well, it is a highlight because you busted your tail to the ball running 50 yards down the field, and you know, or it is a highlight. You're doing your job and you're doing it very well as far as making plays without making plays. I think that's really key for defensive linemen. You know, because a lot of times, you know, coaches want to know, you know, what is his twitch like? You know, is he working hard? You know, will he turn and run? So, you know, a lot of the times what they think isn't a highlight, you know, it is a highlight. You know, I told, you know, we went through with a kid last year. To me, my favorite play of him was chasing a kid down 50 yards down the field as a 300-pound lineman. You know, he wanted to put that last. I said, no, you put that first. You know, so, you know, those kind of things of, you know, putting it in their own hands and just making sure they're accountable with it.
I think we can get Huddle to change it from highlights to resume reel. Because that's
Yeah.
really
That's big good. It's you know, one other thing I'll say on that is go along with Coach Hicks. He said it exactly how I was going to say it. We're trying to educate on by position, like what is a good thing to put on there, what's something that college coaches are going to notice in those first 2 or 3, 4 or 5 plays, especially if we can get it in the right coach's hands, not just necessarily a local recruiter, but if they're a defensive back, we put the stuff that we know that defensive back coaches really want to see on the tape. Again, because when you're grading a high school defensive back, and if both teams run the ball a lot, you know, you don't always necessarily get a bunch of PBUs and INTs, but if you've got to, you know, showing transition coming out of a break, covering a really fast wide receiver who's already being recruited, and they see that he's running step for step with them, you know, they know who that kid is. And so you can kind of make a name for yourself like that.
So let's talk a little bit about social media, because that's obviously an important part of someone promoting themselves, but it also has the potential downside. So what do you try to teach your kids there about the use of social media?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a big point of emphasis for them to understand exactly what you just said, how the good of it can be so wonderful. We have a kid right now who has picked up a name for himself, honestly, because people have seen him work out online. Like they've seen him do ladder drills and footwork drills and things like that. And if you scroll through his feed and you look at all of his stuff, he's a clean kid, great grades, so on and so forth. So people have become interested because he does fit all the check boxes in terms of his grades, his character, you know, his size, his measurables. And now they've seen him do, like Coach Hicks was saying, camp type drills. And so that's been such a benefit for him. And social media really has helped sort of get his recruiting started more so than it ever was prior to.
Yeah. Another great thing, you know, that me and Coach Sciba did was we had like a team meeting, and we really educated the kids on what to do and what to not do on social media, as far as, you know, don't post this, you know, because at the end of the day right now, you know, with the way the recruiting works, I mean, Twitter is your resume, you know, so people are going to look at what you post, what are you liking, you know, anything negative. If I tell them anything negative that you wouldn't want your mom to see, don't put on there. You know, don't like it right now. You know, don't retweet it. Just, you know, try to keep your, you know, keep it as clean as possible. You know, because that is your resume. That's a representation of yourself, your family, and your football team. You know, and you know, we really put that on the kids as far as always believing that it's, you know, it's not just about me. It's about everybody else as well. You know.
All right. Now, when we're talking recruiting, we're not talking just Power 5 and D1. We're also talking D2, D3, NAIA. What do you do to try and help a kid find the level that's appropriate for him to concentrate on when he's going to camps or and that sort of thing?
It's honestly, it's a tough conversation, you know, sometimes, because a lot of kids, everybody thinks that, you know, they should be playing at Texas or Texas A&M. But, you know, we always have to have a tough conversation with the kid to make sure he understands, you know, where he falls and, you know, where to concentrate on. You know, we have, you know, again, at Morton, we have a lot of great kids, you know, but a lot of them not going to be 6'4", 305, already ready-made, you know, and a lot of times that's the Power Fives are looking for. So we do have to, you know, have that conversation with the kid to say, like, hey, you know, this camp right here is going on. You know, this coach right here wants to talk to you. You know, we try to make sure that they understand, you know, where they fall, and, you know, just have to have a conversation, just be real with them. And, you know, sometimes it happens where, you know, a kid might be a little disappointed, but I mean, he understands. You know, he understands.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about before the camp season got canceled, one of the things I really liked the last, you know, it's been around for a while now, but these mega camps where a school hosts and then all these other schools go, you know, you really sort of get to sort of hit all the different variety of school, level of school that's there, which is good for us as the guys helping with recruiting, because, you know, it sort of kind of ends up working itself out. I worked for a coach one time that told me, though, it wasn't our job to tell them they couldn't play at the next level. And I mean, that's, you know, I think if a kid is willing to, you know, maintain the good GPA, make a good test score, I think there's probably somewhere in the United States of America they can go and play college football at some level. Now, you know, whether or not they're going to get it paid for with athletic scholarship, you know, who knows? I think those guys will understand that once they get there how fortunate they really are. But I think to answer your question kind of in a roundabout way is, you know, that, like Coach Hicks said, it's tough because, you know, we want them to have everything that they want, and on the other end, we want the college guys to see how hard they're working to get it.
I'm firm believer that if you can start in for a Texas high school football team and you have the grades, you can play Division III football just about anywhere in the country.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a place for you.
All right. So sorry, Coach Hicks froze up there a second. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Like I said, there's always a place for you to play. I think that, like you said, if you have the GPA, if you have the grades, we'll find a place for you to play. You just got to believe the process and just keep working.
Well, coaches, thank you very much for your time tonight. Really enjoyed it. Hope to get to see the Mavericks take the field this fall.